Imagine being a teenage girl, leading armies into battle. Soldiers twice your age obey your command, kings listen when you speak, and an entire nation believes you were sent by God. But then one day, the very people you fought to protect quietly step aside and let your enemies take you. This is the tragic story of the betrayal of Joan of Arc. The girl who heard voices. In the small village of Domremy in France, around the year 1412, a farmer's daughter grew up in a world of war. France was struggling against England in a brutal conflict known as the 100 Years' War. Villages burned, armies marched across fields, and hope seemed almost lost. Then something unusual happened. Joan claimed she began hearing voices. She said saints were speaking to her. Their message was simple, yet unbelievable. She was chosen to save France. At first, people laughed. How could a teenage girl lead soldiers into war? But Joan refused to give up, and eventually, someone decided to listen. Joan traveled across dangerous lands to meet the young Prince of France, Charles VII. Legend says when she arrived, Charles hid among his court to test her. Yet Joan walked straight to him and bowed. Somehow she recognized him instantly. This strange moment made people wonder, was this girl truly guided by something divine? After questioning her for weeks, the court allowed her to lead French forces. What happened next shocked everyone. The rise of a warrior. Joan of Arc didn't fight like a typical commander. She carried a banner instead of a sword, but wherever she went, morale changed. French soldiers who once feared defeat suddenly fought with confidence. Within months, Joan helped lead the French army to lift the siege of Orleans. It was one of the most important victories of the war. Soon after, Charles was crowned in the city of Reims. To many people, Joan of Arc had become a living miracle. But miracles often make powerful enemies. The moment everything changed. After the coronation, Joan wanted to continue pushing the English out of France, but the king and his advisors became cautious. War was expensive, politics were complicated, and Joan's growing fame made some nobles uncomfortable. Still, Joan continued fighting. Then, one day in 1430, during a battle near the city of Compiègne, everything went wrong. French forces were retreating. Joan helped defend the rear guard as soldiers moved back toward the city gates. She fought bravely, but suddenly the gates closed, locked. Joan was left outside the walls, surrounded, captured by soldiers loyal to the Duke of Burgundy who supported the English. And this is where the betrayal truly began. Instead of rescuing Joan, instead of demanding her freedom, King Charles VII remained silent. The Burgundians sold Joan to the English. A hero of France was now a prisoner of her country's enemy. For months, she was interrogated, not as a soldier, but as a heretic. The English knew something important. If they could destroy Joan's reputation, they could weaken the spirit of France. So they placed her on trial. The trial was not fair. Joan stood alone before powerful church officials. She was only 19 years old, yet she defended herself with remarkable intelligence. When asked difficult theological questions, she answered calmly, sometimes even outwitting her judges. But the verdict had already been decided. The court declared her guilty, not of war, but of heresy. On May 30th, 1431, Joan of Arc was taken to the marketplace in Rouen. Crowds gathered, some mocked her, others wept. She asked for a cross to hold. Then the sentence was carried out. The girl who once led armies, the girl who helped crown a king, was executed. She was only 19. But here is the strange twist of history. The story didn't end there. Years later, after France won the war, the church reopened Joan's case. The verdict: the trial had been unjust. Joan of Arc was officially declared innocent. Centuries later, she was even recognized as a saint. The people who betrayed Joan thought they could erase her, but history had other plans. Today, Joan of Arc is remembered as one of the most courageous figures in history, while many of the men who abandoned her are forgotten. Betrayal often reveals the weakness of those in power, but courage, especially the courage to stand for what you believe, can outlive betrayal by centuries.